Your Honors, good morning. This is a continuation of the public panel interview by the Judicial and Bar Council of candidates for the Associate Justice of the Court of Appeals, the Sandigan Bayan, and the Court of Tax Appeals. We'll first have the Centennial prayer for the courts.
Almighty God, we stand in your holy presence as our supreme judge. We humbly beseech you to bless and inspire us so that what we think, say, and do will be in accordance with your will. Enlighten our minds, strengthen our spirit, and fill our hearts with fraternal love, wisdom, and understanding, so that we can be effective channels of truth, justice, and peace. In our proceedings today, guide us in the path of righteousness for the fulfillment of your greater glory. Amen.
Your Honors, again, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good
The
morning.
panel of interviewers for this morning are the following: the Honorable Justice Jose Catral Mendoza, regular member representing the retired members of the Supreme Court and chairperson of the JBC Executive Committee. The Honorable Judge Toribio Ilaw Jr., regular member representing the private sector. The Honorable Justice Noel Jimenez Tiham, regular member representing the Academy. And the Honorable Judge Franklin de Monteverde, regular member representing the Integrated Bar of the Philippines. Your Honors, for interview this morning are the following: Judge Lynn C. Ibora Katsa, a candidate for Associate Justice of the Court of Tax Appeals and the Sandigan Bayan. Then we have Judge Cyclamen J. Fernandez, candidate for Associate Justice of the Court of Appeals. May I request the candidates to please raise your right hands so that I can administer the oath? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this public panel interview by the JBC?
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
So help you God.
Thank you.
Help me, God.
Your Honors, the first for interview will be Judge Ibora Katsa. Again, a candidate for the Court of Tax Appeals and the Sandigan Bayan. The first to interview the candidate is the Honorable Judge Franklin de Monteverde. Judge de Monteverde, sir.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Ed. Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Yeah. How are you?
Nervous.
Sure you're quite uptight this morning. Anyway, you are the presiding judge of the RTC branch 82 of Quezon City.
Yes, Your Honor.
And for how long have you been there?
I have been there for 5 years and 6 months, Your Honor.
Prior to that, where were you connected?
I was the first level court judge. I first assumed my position in 2010 as MTC judge of Guagua, Pampanga. And then I was subsequently designated as acting presiding judge in Caloocan and in Quezon City.
By the way, what is your caseload?
As of now, as of end of September, I have 294 cases, Your Honor.
Okay. And going back to your stint with the judiciary, for how long have you been as such?
I have been in the judiciary since 2001, or almost 20 years. I started as a branch clerk of court. Then I became court attorney in the Court of Appeals and subsequently in the Supreme Court before being appointed as a first level court judge, Your Honor.
But prior to that, were you connected with any other government entities?
No, Your Honor. I was in the private practice.
Okay. For how long?
For 2 years, Your Honor.
You are applying for a post in the Court of Tax Appeals and another post for the Sandigan Bayan.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So how come you didn't apply for the Court of Appeals?
I have an 11-year-old daughter, my only child, Your Honor, and she is my fourth pregnancy, but she was the only one whom I was able to carry to fruition.
Okay. Your husband is also in the government service,
Yes, Your Honor, as a state prosecutor at the Department of Justice.
assigned where?
At the Department of Justice,
Oh,
Your Honor.
okay. You have been certified to be fit to work anytime.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, to what extent eh, you are applying for a post in the tax appeals? So, to what extent have you been exposed in handling taxation cases?
To be honest, Your Honor, I have not handled any tax cases. Although I think once in the Court of Appeals, we were set to review a tax case. However, it was subsequently re-raffled to another justice, Your Honor.
You are not a CPA.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, in your application, you highlighted that you have a master's degree in public management and
Yes,
was able to receive a gold medal for that.
yes, Your Honor.
Tell us about this award and tell us how this additional learning of yours can help boost you for the positions that you are applying for.
I took up my master's in public management at Ateneo de Manila University School of Government because I wanted to expand my perspective with regard to the workings of the government. I have been exposed in the government in terms of the judiciary. However, I would want to have a perspective as to how the entirety of the government works. And I believe that in having my master's degree, I was able to see how the executive department as well as the legislative department, in combination with the judiciary, makes the government uh, the way it is right now. It also gave me a deeper understanding as well as the perspective of my classmates who are mostly from the executive department. In fact, I was the only one in the judiciary at that time,
Okay.
Your Honor.
And so far, what have been the most effective methods that the Supreme Court had initiated in improving court procedures and efficiency?
It is the continuous trial rule in criminal cases that we are experiencing right now that has helped us a lot. This innovation has helped me because prior to this, I have been trying to implement the 15-day rule to promulgate cases upon finality or upon the final presentation of the last evidence by the defense or by the prosecution. And it there were some resistance from with regard to the formal offer being made immediately or in oral during open court proceedings. There was also some resistance with regard to the immediacy or the need for the court staff to keep up, especially with regard to stenographic notes. It's so hard to keep up with stenographic notes and then promulgate within the 15-day period required by Republic Act 9165.
So, if you were to be given that chance of being appointed to the judiciary, what other methods or procedure would you suggest?
Your Honor, right now, the case management of the courts is being helped a lot by the innovations that have been implemented recently. And it would also help if the judges would be given a management perspective with regard to the handling of courts, because being a judge does not necessarily just mean you are resolving cases. You are also handling the court as a manager, and you are handling the court, not just the personnel but also the case docket. So I believe that a more in-depth training with regard to management would greatly help in the judiciary as well, Your Honor.
Okay, Judge. Now, in 2016, when a certain Marine officer was arrested because of drugs but was granted bail later on, the judiciary was put on the spotlight. Even the then Chief Justice told the press that the judiciary should not be blamed for that case. Do you think this case highlighted our war on drugs campaign of the government?
Definitely, sir, because at that time there were a lot of media focus on the government, especially on the judiciary, as to how we will handle it, because there were two cases. One was the petition for bail in the filed with the court, and the other one is the pending preliminary investigation in the Department of Justice. And we were pressured with regard to, one, how fast we will resolve the case, because it is parallel to what is happening with the Department of Justice. And the other one is with regard to how we will solve the case, or we will resolve the case rather, based on the merits, or based on what are the issues being presented in the judiciary.
Had it affected your competence as a judge?
In I would like to think, sir, that it has not, but it has affected me in terms of making me mentally strong, so that whatever I read, I try not to be affected in terms of evaluation of the merits of the case, sir.
Okay. Now let's go back to your academic credentials. I noticed that before entering the College of Law, you had two major your pre-law courses. No, one was for an AB Political Science, and one was for Bachelor of Science in Nursing.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why did you take up nursing? You have any intention of pursuing or going to the medical profession, the medical?
No, Your Honor, I was not intending really. I was as I have previously stated, Your Honor, I suffered several miscarriages. Excuse me. And
Mhm.
as such, during that period, my husband and I were wondering what is happening, and we were always in the dark as to why would I suffer miscarriage for after being pregnant for around 3 months, 5 months, and then I would suffer a miscarriage. So to have a deeper understanding as to what is happening, I wanted to explore the academic side of it, Your Honor.
So you took up nursing after you passed the bar already, no?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you are a registered nurse, I believe.
Yes, Your Honor.
So when the pandemic broke out, were you one of the frontliners? Did you help?
No, Your Honor, I did not keep up with my continuing education with regard to the nursing profession. However, I kept in touch with several of my colleagues, and I helped in as a not as a frontliner, but more as a support system for them, Your Honor.
Okay. Let's go to your personality, Judge. How sensitive are you as a person?
Your Honor, I do not think I am that sensitive. In fact, my court staff will say that I am not really that easily rattled with regard to cases or whatever is happening. I think because I am the middle child, so I tend to adapt to a lot of things easily, Your Honor.
But you do get offended by unfavorable remarks hurled at you.
I try not to be affected, Your Honor, because as much as possible, when unfavorable remarks are come to my attention, I would like to think that they were made by persons who do not really know me as as a person, and they, even if they do know me, then they are not in full, they do not have the full knowledge with regard to whatever they are making accusations of, Your Honor.
But there were times that you had manifested an aggressive behavior because of this criticisms, or especially destructive ones.
Aggressive behavior,
You get angry, you tend to hit back at your critics.
no, Your Honor. What I would usually do is I would talk it out with my husband because uh,
Your husband is not the one being criticized.
yes, I will just he will just be my sounding board, Your Honor. Even
Okay.
if in court, if I hear something, I will just go to my chambers, and then I would usually just call usually my husband and tell him about it. So that somehow if I talk about it, then the whatever feelings will leak out of me, and then I will try to be as calm as possible, Your Honor.
So, how is your relationship with your staff?
I I would like to think, Your Honor, that we have a very good relationship, professional and personally, Your Honor.
Okay. So, by the way, how long have you been married?
We have been married since 2004, Your Honor, so 15 years, Your Honor.
And since you get married, where have you stayed?
We have stayed in our present residence in Cubao, Quezon City, Your Honor.
And how about your parents? Where are they?
My parents are currently in Batangas City, Your Honor. Both of them uh, in their are 80 years old and above.
Were they affected by the COVID?
Not not directly, sir, but they are affected because we cannot. There's six of us here in the Philippines, and usually we take turns going to them, and we are all here in Metro Manila. But due to the COVID, they were wondering, especially my mother who is now presently suffering from dementia. They do not understand why we cannot visit them as often as we used to, Your
And
Honor.
because of the fact that you can no longer visit your parents as often as possible, this current pandemic situation had increased your negative feelings. Am I correct?
In some ways, Your Honor, it has uh, reinforced the feeling of sometimes, especially with this COVID, you wonder when will this pass. But I have always prayed that and always hope that this too shall pass. I keep up that
Your
hope, sir.
Yes, your failure to visit your parents often, has this affected your competence as a judge, particularly in the writing of decisions?
No, Your Honor. In fact, I have kept up with the number of decisions that I have made before the pandemic and up to now, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, Judge, do local government units have the same taxing power as the national government?
I believe that they have the same taxing power.
They have the power to tax also.
They give out assessments with regard to real property taxes, and they also have a taxing power with regard to businesses located within their jurisdiction, Your Honor.
Isn't it that the power of the LGUs to tax is merely limited,
Yes,
not
Your
as the
Honor,
same as the national government?
because it is merely, um, yes, Your Honor.
So, under what circumstance is the power to tax by the LG2 limited? Under what circumstance?
In the local government code, which delineates their power to tax, their taxation power is limited only one within their territory, uh, and that they cannot go beyond what is allowable or allowed by beyond that which is allowed to the national government, sir.
Okay, last question. What courts exercise jurisdiction over tax cases?
The regional trial court exercises jurisdiction over tax cases where the assessment is not beyond 1 million, Your Honor.
Mhm.
And there are also tax cases with regard to that being exercised by the Commissioner of the Internal Revenue, the Commissioner of Customs, the Department of Agriculture.
So, when the principal amount of taxes is beyond 1 million, which office exercise original jurisdiction?
That would be the Court of Tax Appeals, Your Honor.
So, what other courts exercise jurisdiction aside from the CTA?
The regional trial court, Your Honor.
Mhm. And what about the final decisions of the Court of Tax Appeals?
The Court of Tax Appeals being the uh
Where do it go?
with the Supreme Court, Your
Where do the decisions, the final decisions go?
after the Court of Tax Appeals, then it will go to the Supreme Court for if an appeal has been made, Your Honor.
Okay, Judge Katja, that was my last question.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you and good luck.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Stay safe.
Keep safe also, Your Honor.
Yeah. Attorney Ed?
Uh, Thank you, Judge De
Oh,
Monteverde.
Attorney Tali? Yeah.
Yes, Judge. Good morning po.
Okay.
Thank you,
Stay.
Judge De
Good morning.
Monteverde.
Yeah, okay.
The next interviewer is Honorable Justice Noel Jimenez Tiham.
Thank you, Attorney Tali. Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, Justice.
You were recommended by former Chief Justice Bersamin and the Dean of the San Beda College of Law. Do they personally know you, Your Honor?
Yes, yes, Your Honor. I have been a staff of the former Chief Justice Bersamin since 2001 as a branch clerk of court. And then when he was promoted to the Court of Appeals and eventually to the Supreme Court, I was his court attorney until my appointment in the judiciary. With regard to Dean Delson, he personally knows me because he was my professor when I was in the College of Law in San Beda. And then we used to be neighbors as well, Your Honor.
Your choice of preference in your application are intimately related to your desire not to leave Metro Manila.
Yes, Your Honor.
So I don't want to apply with the Court of Appeals.
As I have said, I have an only child who is only 11 years old, and I believe she needs me very much to be, especially with regard to being unable to travel as freely as before. So my husband and I decided that we should just apply within the Metro Manila if possible, Your Honor.
I was looking through your profile and records, and there were some cases where you inhibited. In the case of People versus Wilfredo Uy et al., you inhibited after rendering the decision, but on the MR, you did not participate. Is there any particular reason why you inhibited?
That was the one of the first big cases that I handled when I took over as a presiding judge in branch 82. There were several lawyers, and there was a need to with regard to a Chinese interpreter. We were having problems because I was insisting, if you can see the age of the case, I was insisting that I wanted the case to be fast tracked. And we were having problems with regard to the Chinese interpreter. There were several correspondences with the Office of the Court Administrator. And I was insisting that I wanted the court interpreter to be this person who has been the court interpreter in several cases. We were having disagreements already. So when after my decision, they were insistent that I was already showing partiality and bias. So in order not to taint the decision that I have rendered already with regard to that case, I voluntarily inhibited, although I initially denied their motion for inhibition, Your Honor.
Was your inhibition prompted by your impression that the case has become difficult to handle?
No, Your Honor. In fact, I was able to resolve the case, and I believe that the facts of the case as I have laid down will not overly burden what the court who subsequently handled the case.
But how come you did not? How come you did not resolve the MR? You
Because
could
they
have
did not
simply denied the MR.
because they did not want me to resolve the motion for reconsideration. In fact, when I was hearing already the motion for reconsideration, they asked me specifically during that hearing to recuse from the hearing of the motion for the reconsideration, Your Honor.
There's also another case, People versus Ong Kieng Yok,
Yes,
where
Your Honor.
you inhibited after termination of the presentation of prosecution evidence. Did you also find this case difficult?
No, Your Honor. Actually, the difficult part was the accused kept on changing counsels. And then the accused kept on refusing the presence of the interpreter. So what was the whenever I would appoint my POW lawyer at the time, I kept changing POW lawyers as well, and there was also a change with regard to the public prosecutor. Even the public prosecutor already wanted to agreed for the case to be re-raffled and for the court to inhibit from hearing the case, Your Honor. But I
I,
would
I
want
I asked that question because judges are supposed to decide cases without fear or favor. Now, there are two other cases where you inhibited upon motion of attorney Oliver Lozano. Was he stalking you?
I
Attorney Lozano has died, I
yes,
suppose, correct?
yes,
Why
Your
did you
Honor.
inhibit? Why did you inhibit?
Because the during the last time that I saw he appeared in court, Your Honor, Attorney Lozano was insisting that I am criminally I am committing a criminal felony, or rather a felony, because I was contradicting myself, as he called it. So he said that he showed me a paper that he filed allegedly a criminal case against me.
So were you intimidated?
No, actually, I did not I did not want to inhibit. In fact, I called up my 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 mentors with regard to it. So, because I do not want to inhibit just by reason of having a criminal case being dangled before me. And then I asked around if the case was indeed filed, or a criminal case was indeed filed, and I found out. And then Attorney Lozano called up the office and said that he will not file because he knows, because his daughter will be the one taking over the case. So when I heard that, my husband, who is a friend of the daughter, decided that it I decided that in order to obviate any perception that I am uh, in any sense biased or partial, I voluntarily recused from those two cases. But those are the only cases, if I remember it right, I have only four cases out of the 4,000 cases that I have disposed where I made uh, an inhibition or inhibitions, Your Honor.
So if you are appointed as an associate justice of the Sandigan Bayan or of the Court of Tax Appeals, if a case, a high profile case, is raffled to you and there is a tendency that you might render a decision which might not be acceptable by the public, will you take that into account and inhibit from the case because it might jeopardize future promotion to a higher court?
No, Your Honor. I have not considered the case profile whenever I make my inhibitions. Rather, my focus, or rather the resolution with regard to inhibitions, would be focused on whether there would be taints of bias or partiality, or the integrity of the court will be put into question, not the whether the case is high profile or not, Your Honor, or whether it will affect me personally or not.
All right. Do you want to apply with the Court of Tax Appeals? Are you an expert on taxation?
No, Your Honor, as I have
Good.
said, I have not
That's good.
handled
That's
any
good. So
tax.
I'll ask you questions on taxation. The general rule, can taxes be subject to compensation? What do you understand by compensation? Can it be
Compensation.
offsetted taxes?
The general rule is taxes are not subject to any offsetting, Your Honor. Uh,
What
the
what is the have you come across? Do you recall the doctrine of equitable recoupment? Have you come across that? Do you recall? You must have gotten a high grade in taxation.
uh, n- no, I
Is
cannot
taxation one of your least favorite?
uh, when I was in law school, it was on the average, it was I was good. I had a 30 Cabanero as my professor, but during the bar, it was not my what it was not my favorite subject then, Your Honor.
So taxes cannot be offsetted as a general rule. But supposing the taxpayer is entitled to a refund, can he offset it with current assessment?
The general rule is that the taxes are not subject to offset. However, in terms that would be in terms of when the government is the one who would be who would not be paid. However, if it is the government who is the one who will need to pay in terms of refund, I believe, Your Honor, that the this would come as an exception. And in terms of com- of offsetting, then the government can offset in terms of this, in regard to this particular circumstance.
And what is the legal basis for your answer?
As
What do you call
the
that is the
I
doctrine of equitable.
recoupment. Oh, here on
What this is basic corporation law. What is a stock corporation?
stock corporation is one who has uh I'm sorry, Your Honor, I am not familiar with regard to the stock corporations.
What is a stock? Shares of stocks.
Shares of stocks are those which are issued by the corporation as to show the extent of ownership of a person with regard to the corporation uh, in terms of ownership, Your Honor.
Can one person create a corporation, incorporate?
Previously, Your Honor, there was a limitation that there must at least be five incorporators. However, that limitation has already been lifted, but I believe that one person as as a an, as a sole incorporator is because
So can he incorporate a one person?
as a sole
Can it be a one person corporation?
I have not heard of any, Your Honor.
You have not heard of it. So there can be a one person corporation.
Thank
Can
you.
a stock corporation be converted into a one person corporation? Okay. If you have not read about it, make an educated guess.
I I I I think, Your Honor, then with the lifting of the ban with regard to the number of incorporators, and as you have said that there can be one or a sole incorporator of in making up a corporation, then it would be possible, Your Honor.
How do you convert a stock corporation into a one person corporation? How? By kicking out the other stockholders.
I guess it would come in the sale of
Procedurally, how do you do it?
I would believe it would come in the sale of the shares of stocks by the other incorporators to the person who would want to be the sole incorporator.
So you can amend, you have to amend
Bylaws.
the articles of incorporation, correct?
Yes, yes,
All
Your
right.
Honor.
My last question is, I have to ask you questions which you have not read about. The IMF, International Monetary Fund, is calling for the lifting of the bank secrecy law. What is the bank secrecy law, Judge?
Uh, the bank secrecy law is that which gives uh, the depositors the confidence to maintain their deposits with banks, knowing that they are covered with the confidentiality of uh, from any probe, from any investigation or probe by government offices or government entities.
JBC inquire into the bank deposits of applicants for the
Because
judiciary.
because we have signed a waiver, sir, then you may do so. The JBC can do so,
So
sir.
what are the exceptions to the secrecy of bank deposits?
The first one would be if there was a consent given by the depositor himself. Then when the subject of the the inquiry or the issue at hand is the deposit themselves, then the bank secrecy is deemed waived, Your Honor.
All right. That is my last question. Thank you for your time, Judge, and good luck.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Thank you, Justice Tiham.
Yes.
The next interviewer is Honorable Judge.
You forgot my name.
Hello. Judge Ilaw Jr. Sorry,
Wait.
Judge. Sorry po.
Thank you, Attorney Taiwan. Why did it take you 5 seconds to announce my name? So, how are you, Attorney Tali?
Sorry, Judge. Sorry po. On call and on deck, Your Honor. I apologize.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Anyway, yes, good morning, Judge Lin Chu Ibora Kacha.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Judge. How are you today? Still nervous?
Yes, sir.
Take a deep breath and smile. Yeah. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I've read your college story. You obtained a pre-law degree Bachelor of Arts, major in political science at Trinity University as magna cum laude, then obtained the degree of Bachelor of Science in Nursing. So you are an R.
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
Well, that's single only, not plural. NAR. All right, you applied for both the Court of Tax Appeals and Sandigan Bayan. If given the chance to choose, which do you prefer?
In terms of practicality and probability, Your Honor, in the Court of Tax Appeals, because there are two vacancies. But in terms of uh, being a trial court judge, I would prefer the Sandigan Bayan, Your Honor.
And what are your best qualifications for the preferred court?
I have been in the judiciary since 2001, and I have been in all aspects or in from the rank and file up to now as the presiding judge, and I believe that I can bring my experience both as a rank and file and as a presiding judge in handling cases whether in the Court of Tax Appeals or in the Sandigan Bayan, Your Honor.
All right, you stated in your application letters for the Court of Tax Appeals and Sandigan Bayan that, I quote, integrity and efficiency are the values emphasized in the courts you handle. How do you ensure this is implemented and this statement is accurate at all times?
Your Honor, as a trial, even as a court attorney and as a trial court judge, I have always seen that I have always maintained that the merits of the case, the law, as well as the truth as brought out by the facts presented before me, are resolved in an efficient and speedy manner, Your Honor. And all of my in my more than 19 years of being part of the government, I have not in any way wavered in regard to my, I guess, motto in ensuring that in giving out justice, law, truth, and the merits of the case will always prevail in an efficient and speedy manner, Your Honor.
All right, what changes have you implemented in your court during this pandemic?
The I have adopted the skeleton workforce, Your Honor. The We use video conferencing with regard to the PDLs, and 90% of our cases are with PDLs. So what we did was, personally, I gave the BJMP a tablet that they can use exclusively for my court, so that I do not have to wait in line with regard to the use of the facilities. I have also asked my stenographers to ensure that their rotation will not in any way affect the presence of skeleton staff in court. And I have also ensured that my court will be online 100% of the time from 8 o'clock to 4:30, Your Honor.
And these are before the issuance of the Supreme Court memorandum with respect to the 4-day week work, as well as this requiring the staff to report skeletal one.
I started implementing with regard to the online, Your Honor, even before the issuance of the Supreme Court. In fact, way back in April, I was already asking the Office of the Court Administrator that I will be allowed to adopt the video conference. They initially piloted in Davao City, and the Office of the Court Administrator was then asking me, what is your setup in court, why do you think that you are capable of implementing this? And I was one of the courts who have an online court ever since I assumed possession as an RTC judge. My court has all the cameras, the microphones, the audio system, and the video system way back 2015, Your Honor, even before the the implementation of the online proceedings.
All right. What do you consider your greatest accomplishment as a magistrate that makes you worthy of a promotion?
Your Honor, I believe that when I take on a task, I put all my heart and soul into it, Your Honor. That is why when I took over as a presiding judge in RTC Quezon City, Branch 82, when there are more than 1,400 cases at that time, I made it my goal to make my caseload as brought down to the manageable level of between 200 to 300. Before the pandemic, I was already below 100, Your Honor. It was only after the pandemic, when the caseload started to pile up again, that I reached more than 200 again as of this time, Your Honor.
All right. The Court of Tax Appeals and the Sandigan Bayan are both collegiate courts. With your experience as a judge, how will you develop a good working relationship with your colleagues but still maintain your independence as an associate justice?
Your Honor, I believe that I have good mentors with regard to maintaining independence, as well as maintaining good relations with members of the division that you will work in. I was court attorney for more than 7 years, and I have witnessed that how the interaction among justices or among colleagues in a collegial body works, and how it was effective in terms of uh, mend, blending the decision making, as well as maintaining rather your independence with regard to the resolutions being presented, Your Honor.
All right. Likewise, the Sandigan Bayan is a highly specialized court. Not only that it does decide on the graft and corruption cases, but it is also a collegiate court that conducts trials. How have you prepared yourself to take on the delicate task of being a Sandigan Bayan Associate Justice?
I I have, as of now, my preparation is with regard to compiling as much as possible all the jurisprudence that would be needed, as because that is what I usually do in my court. I would also uh, ensure that I will be, in fact, right now, I believe that I am strong enough to withstand and independent enough to withstand any pressure, whether internally or externally, with in terms of reviewing the facts of each and every case presented. I am, in fact, I am also preparing to undertake several studies to ensure that I will keep up with regard to the academic preparations needed as an associate justice for the positions that I am applying for, Your Honor.
How honest are you?
I, I am honest, Your Honor.
How?
Uh, I, how honest? I believe that I decide cases based on the merits, Your Honor, and I do not let anyone or anything influence me, Your Honor.
And what do you wish you had done differently in your life?
Uh, Your Honor, as much as possible, I do not have any regrets. As I have said, all the things that has happened to me, I lift it up to God, and I just know that it is for my betterment as a person that things happen to me. As much as possible, I do not want to look back with regret on anything, Your Honor.
All right, my last question. How do you design a spice rack for a blind person?
Uh, it will have to be by touch. So I would I would suggest organization in terms of preference of that person. Like if the person is into uh, herbs rather than into spices, then I would put the herbs within the lower portion, and then the spices would have to be graduated in terms of uh, the level of the spice. But it will have to be labeled also as well in a way that the blind person can understand, like probably with embossed pictures. Na I guess that would be it, Your
That's
Honor.
all. All right, that was my last and final question. And thank you, Judge, and good luck to your
Thank
journey.
thank you very much, Your Honor.
My time is up. All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Yes, Tony Tally, I'm through. I'm done.
Thank you, Honorable Toribio E. Ilaw Jr. Thank you, Your Honor.
Alam mo na ang pangalan ngayon.
Nawala po ako kanina, Your Honor, sa pasensya na po. Sorry. The next interviewer
It's been a
is
long time. Long time, no? Long time, no time. Kaya,
Pwede ka na mag-justice, nakakakalimot ka na rin.
Your Honor, may call-in inquiry po kasi kanina. I had
Okay.
nahati po yung katawan ko po. I
yeah,
apologize.
kasi ngayon ka lang nag-join sa amin. Ayan, nabihira ka mag-join. Alright, just a question of familiarity naman. Pag nakamas ka pala, hawig ka rin kay, kay ano eh. Sa boss natin eh. Attorney Yan. Wala
Wala.
pa. Okay. Your
Uh,
turn, Justice Mendoza.
Thank you, Judge Ilaw. Next interviewer is Honorable Justice Jose Catral Mendoza.
Yes, good morning, Judge Bora Katcha.
Good morning,
Oh.
Your Honor.
Oh, my questions will only be very few. I have known you since you were the branch clerk of court of Chief Justice Persamin. And now I have read your PDS. Who prepared your PDS?
I was the one who prepared it, Your Honor.
You must have been so nervous in preparing it. I know your husband, Brian Katcha. He is with the Department of Justice, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
In item number 12, you were asked to name your relatives in the government. Why did you not indicate him?
Because I already put him as a husband, Your Honor, on the first page.
Sige. No problem.
I'm so
You
sorry,
just,
Your Honor.
okay lang. I think you can submit an amended PDS.
Yes, I already.
You have been with Chief Justice Bersamin since his days as an RTC judge and in the Court of Appeals. Were you still with him in the Supreme Court? No more.
Yes, Your Honor, for around 11 months.
Okay. In your stay with him for a long time, what did you learn from him?
The work ethics, Your Honor, would be number one. He is very dedicated to his work. He does not rest on his laurels. As a person, he is already well accomplished in terms of his awards and a lot of accolades that he has received. But he does not rest on it. He continuously uh, studies. I would always see him in front of the computer updating whatever uh, books or jurisprudence will come out. He will be the first one to inform us about it. So I believe that that is my first lesson that I would think I got from him, that someone will should not stop learning. In fact, that is why I am always trying to academically to enroll in whatever courses that I can take, so that have I will grow as a person and as a professional. Another one, Your Honor, would be that despite him having all these awards and all these accolades, he has maintained his humility and uh, has maintained his good relations even with his staff. In fact, until last March, all of the staff would gather yearly with him because he has allowed us, even despite his heavy schedule, to have an annual meetup. So all of his staff from the who have become judges, and there are around 17 or so staff, we would meet up with him, and he would always continuously still be a mentor to us even during lunchtime, Your Honor. And for that, I am always grateful, and I would like to maintain that also, uh, said those values in my professional life. And also
That is
last,
why
I,
you never stop studying, learning and studying.
yes, Your Honor.
And when you took up nursing, you were already in the Court of Appeals.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. And it took you how many years?
Around 2.5 years, Your
2.5
Honor.
years. But you were not able to practice what you learned, except on your parents, siguro.
My parents, even on myself, Your Honor, because I was already at that time, uh, when I finished nursing, I suffered my third miscarriage at that
Mm.
time, Your Honor.
When did you take up this public management course in Ateneo?
I wanted, Your Honor, a perspective different from the one that I have right now in the judiciary with regard to how the government work, how the interaction among the branches of government uh, works, as well as the policy making. Actually, the crew of the public management is with regard to the policy making and implementation on the executive side of the government, executive and legislative side of the government. I wanted that perspective, Your Honor.
You took this master in public management when you were already a judge,
As a first level court judge, Your
first
Honor.
level court judge in Pampanga, right? But in spite,
I,
yes, right?
yes, yes, Your Honor.
When you were already in Pampanga, but in
I was
spite of that, you were able to obtain that or achieve that gold medal award, correct?
yes, Your Honor.
Because you have attained a quality point index of 3.769 in 2015. What is this quality point index?
It is the QPI that is implemented in the grading system of the Ateneo School of Government, where the highest is 4.0, Your Honor.
Mhm. Congratulations for having garnered this award.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Uh, 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 Now, recently, Justice Leonen, in your experience, I do not keep your stuff in mind, but in general, Justice Leonen recommended that the branch clerk of court and the legal researcher be coterminous with the judge. What is your take on this? Because you were once a branch clerk of court and you are now a presiding judge of a court.
Yes, Your Honor. While I'll agree that there should be coterminous employees in the lower courts, I also agree that I also believe that there should be a permanent employee as well who are lawyers, who is a lawyer, like the branch clerk of court.
How
For
about the
that,
legal researcher? Do not think of your present researcher now. In general lang, from the experience of your colleagues. Kasi pagka inisip nyo your own legal researcher, you'll become subjective. Okay.
ideally, Your Honor, I believe that they can also be coterminous, but there must also be a permanent employee because
Like, if you will
the
choose one, who should
one
it be?
only.
The branch clerk of court, or the legal researcher? Anyway, the legal researchers, if they pass the bar, they leave. Oh,
The
so
permanent
ah,
employee, Your Honor, it would be the branch clerk of court, and then the legal researcher can be the coterminous, Your Honor, if I will have to choose.
yes. Your branch 82 is a court of general jurisdiction or a special court.
It's a special drugs court, Your Honor.
A special drugs court. So you have been there for 5.5 years and you have been concentrating on drug cases.
Yes, Your
Yes.
Honor.
How do you keep yourself abreast of other the other laws aside from criminal laws and dangerous drugs law?
Uh, Actually, that is one of the reasons, Your Honor, why I would want to enroll again. In fact, I have already
Enroll again.
submitted my application for Masters of Law. I'm taking advantage of the online education that they are offering. The another way is right now I try to read as much as possible, and my current reading is with regard to cyber security.
I see. Oh, you you are emulating your boss, Chief Justice Bersamin is always studying and reading books. And
He's
in
my
your
idol.
case, you also read, and read. And in addition, you actually enroll uh, in school, like in Ateneo and this Philippine College of Health and Science. Oh, but you chose only the Sandigan Bayan and the Court of Tax Appeals. I heard you earlier uh, on why you prefer the two. Now, you were in the Court of Appeals for 7 years or 8 years, like
Six
6 years.
years and
Oh,
8 months.
you still remember Rule 47?
Rule 47, that
Yes.
would be a petition for uh, relief. 45. Sorry, Your Honor. Annulment of judgment.
Yeah, annulment of judgment. Oh, now you want to be in the Court of Appeals. Uh, the court, the appeals from the regional trial court in tax cases, the appeals go to the Court of Tax Appeals. Now, the grounds for annulment are lack of jurisdiction and extrinsic fraud.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, now, can annulment of judgment be is it a remedy in the Court of Tax Appeals?
The petition for annulment of judgment, Your Honor, is applicable to because the annulment of judgment would have to be filed to the appellate to that appellate uh, court. I think so, Your Honor. It can be also applied.
So, for example, a taxpayer can file an original petition with the Court of Tax Appeals, citing Rule 47 by analogy.
By analogy, I would think so, Your Honor. But I am not familiar, Your Honor.
Yeah, okay. Oh. Tax is not your favorite subject, right?
As of now, Your Honor, my
Uh,
I have limited knowledge with regard to it.
Sige, we go to Sandiga. You also want to go to the Sandiga Bayan. Sandiga Bayan, what is the regular or normal mode of procurement in government supplies or services?
We have the Procurement Act, which uses the PhilJEP system right now, Your Honor. So that is the procurement system being implemented right now by the government.
What is the usual mode?
It's through bids and awards,
Mhm.
Your Honor.
Can you give me at least 3 exceptions? There are several exceptions.
There is a negotiated contract which is allowed in terms of one, if there is a need for it by reason of the urgency, such as if the original contract has already expired and there is a need to extend the same by reason of the public interest, then the negotiated contract is allowed in those that particular instance, Your Honor.
What else?
If there is specialized need by a particular government agency, again, there is an allowed it is an allowed exception by reason of the the urgency as well as the specialization needed for that particular procurement.
What do you call that term? If you know.
I am sorry, Your Honor. It has escaped my.
Oh, anyway. Oh, no problem. Sige, that will be all, Judge. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Your excuse na.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank,
Ayan.
thank you, Your Honors. Thank you, Judge Ebora Cacha. The next candidate to be interviewed is Judge Cyclamen J. Fernandez, presiding judge of Regional Trial Court, Branch 63, La Carlota City, Negros Occidental. Good morning, Judge.
Mhm.
Morning, Judge. First to
Morning.
interview.
May we ask the Honorable Judge Fernandez to unmute your audio, please? Thank you, Judge. Kindly unmute your audio po, Judge.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning,
Attorney
Judge.
Tally.
Yes. First to interview the applicant is Honorable Judge Franklin J. de Monteverde.
Yes, good morning.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Attorney Tally. Good morning, Judge Fernandez.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Justice.
Yeah, do I know you?
Yes, sir. You are my
Have we
presiding
met
judge.
before?
Yes,
Have we
sir. You
met
are
before?
yes, sir.
When?
You were my presiding judge when I was clerk of court of RTC Branch 55 in Mamaylan City, Negros Occidental.
Okay. So how was work there before?
It was a wonderful time there, sir. I learned a lot from you and from the court system. As branch clerk of court, I learned a lot from you, from your tutelage and mentorship.
And how's your work at the La Carlota City, Branch 63?
It's very good, sir. At Branch 63, I started with approximately 1,500 cases, but as of now, it's down to 651 only because we already have another court, a newly created branch. And
That is as of what period?
as of October 2020, sir,
Okay.
651 cases.
Okay. Now, prior to your appointment as the presiding judge of the RTC.
Yes, sir.
Kindly give us an insight in your judicial background.
Okay, sir. So prior to my RTC spin, uh, I was clerk of court of RTC Branch 55 in Mamaylan City for over 5 years. And then I
Mhm.
was appointed as Assistant Provincial Prosecutor assigned in Hinubaan and Kawayan of Negros Occidental also for 11 months. And then I was appointed as presiding judge of the Municipal Trial Court in cities of Cabancalan City, a post I held for over 5 years also.
So, how long have you been a lawyer?
Uh, since 2002, sir. So almost over 18 years now.
Now, I have been going over your credentials,
Yes, sir.
especially on the academics. One thing
Yes, sir.
that caught my attention is this Masters in Biblical Studies.
Yes,
I
sir.
didn't know that you were a master in Biblical Studies. When did you take this?
I took that, sir, when I in 2002 to 2006. I took it every Friday afternoon and Saturday morning. So I usually go on under time every time I go to Bacolod from Himamaylan during that time. And it took me 4 years to finish that. My Master in Biblical Studies course, sir, is my kind of fulfillment of my promise to the Lord when I passed the bar. So that thought was a promise to the Lord because during that time when I was reviewing for the bar, it was so hard. And a thought just entered my mind that I will promise something to Him, I will serve Him. And I thought of taking this Master in Biblical Studies course to equip myself in doing so and to fulfill my promise in turn for my passing the bar at that
Did
time.
you have any intention of entering the convent
No,
when you
sir.
took the sign?
No, sir. No,
Oh,
sir. Just I want to equip myself with the Bible, with spiritual matters, sir, and
oh.
about the biblical studies and the church and the ministry.
How about this international anti-corruption law course? Did you finish it?
The course, sir, I finished. It was a one-time course. I took it in Washington, D.C., the United States. It was for just 1 week, sir. It was a 1 week
One course.
1 week course. So I have a certificate for that from American University of Washington College of Law. So it's going to be part of a master's in law degree. However, sir, I need to go through the student visa process and have the transcript from UNUR to be transferred there. So it's a long process. And with the pandemic, I was not able to process it this time.
Okay. Now, where did you finish your Bachelor of Laws?
University of Negros Occidental, Recoletos, sir.
Did
Bacolod City,
you
Negros
did
Occidental.
you earn any credentials in the College of Law?
No, sir, just the degree, Bachelor of Laws.
Okay. Now, while you were certified to be physically and medically fit, yet your cholesterol is high.
Yes, sir.
Why?
Yes, sir.
Do you take medications for it?
No, sir. The doctor advised me it's all right, but I just have to avoid eating seafood and
Uh-huh.
cheese and butter and pork. But
Okay.
and then take turmeric and lemon for supplements.
Now, you listed a considerable number of credentials consisting of awards received from several affiliations. Do you
Yes, sir.
think these credentials would, in a way, boost your application for an associate justice post?
Yes, sir. Well, it's part of my credentials, so it's the very me, the applicant
Mm.
itself, and I got those credentials, sir, because of hard work too and commitment to the administration and dispensation of justice.
You also listed in your PDS cases where you voluntarily inhibited yourself
Yes,
from.
sir. Yes, sir.
And what particularly caught my attention is the case of People versus Felix Matias Segundo Feria Yulo III et al.,
Yes, sir.
which was among the hot topics during the last elections, local
Yes,
elections.
sir.
Tell
Yes,
us
sir.
about this. Tell us about this.
Okay, so the
Did you
case, sir.
did you receive any threats or what?
No, sir. I did not. Thankfully, I did not receive any threats for that. It's just that the chief of police at the time of the municipality of Moises Padilla moved for my inhibition from the case, considering that the allegation was that I am receiving municipal allowances from this municipality, which is of course part of the local government code. Which entitles presiding judge of the regional trial court in which the municipality is situated to give so. So because of that motion for inhibition, I decided to voluntarily inhibit myself from hearing the case further.
Now, do you think you mentioned that one of the reasons he cited for you to inhibit is because the court is receiving allowances from the LGU?
Yes, sir.
What is your take on this? Are you in favor of the judges receiving allowances from the LGU?
Well, for now, sir, of course, I'm in favor because it's also provided in the local government code that judges may receive allowances from the LGU as long as it is authorized and it is authorized by the municipal council. So for now, sir, I am in favor of judges receiving allowances from the LGU without regard to whoever is the sitting municipal officials.
You have been in the judiciary since 2009, or roughly for a period of 11 years. And your tenure there is such that you work alone. You decide cases solely on your own.
Yes, sir.
Now, should you be appointed in the appellate court, how will you be working with your co-justices, considering that this will be a collegiate one?
Yes, sir. Well, first and foremost, I am a people person. I don't think I have any problem working with other justices more senior than me. And as of now, I am the executive judge of the Regional Trial Court of La Carlota City, and I have a colleague in another branch, and I have also judges of the lower courts under me as executive judge. So so far, sir, there's been no problem with regards to dealing with other people, with other judges, and much more with the most senior justices in the Court of Appeal. Should I be appointed there too?
Okay. Now, assuming that you will be appointed, and assuming further that you become aware of an ethical conduct on the part of a certain co-justice,
Yes.
how will you react to this, and how will you handle the situation?
Okay, so, sir, if it's
You
an
you
ethic,
you took up masters in anti-corruption course, no?
yes, sir,
So
yes,
what
sir.
will you be your action on this?
So, sir, for if it's an ethical issue, the first thing I would do would be to confer with the presiding justice of the Court of Appeals and open this up and share this with him or her. That I cannot act without the permission of the presiding justice who will serve as the executive officer of the Court of Appeals.
What if the presiding justice will not, or will not entertain the idea of you meeting with him?
So the next logical thing for me to do, sir, is to refer this to the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. If to just go over the case, the issue. Anyway, it's only an issue yet. So
Okay.
there's no evidence to file any drastic action about it.
You have been, as I mentioned earlier, you have been with the court for several years, and you have the opportunity to meet with different kinds of people.
Yes,
Some
sir.
nasty, some difficult, and many of these are lawyers, your
Yes, sir.
peers and litigants.
Yes.
Oh. How did you handle these people?
So I handled him calmly, sir, as a judge. So I have to stick by my rulings and I have to stick with the procedure as
Have you
expected of me.
have you encountered people who tried to threaten you or to offer you a bribe for some favor?
None so far, sir. In my over 10 years of stint as judge, I have not received any favor or bribe or have not been offered any so far. So I'm thankful for that.
Do you believe that the composition of the magistrates in our courts have adequately and fairly reflected our society at large? Why
Yes, sir.
or why not? Okay.
Yes, sir. Because so far the cases are handled, are being managed properly, and the ratio of the judges or justices are so far good in connection with the cases handled and the society involved.
And what has been your greatest accomplishment in your legal career?
My greatest accomplishment is having been appointed to the regional trial court to try cases of general jurisdiction. So,
Okay.
yes, sir. So
So,
that's so far.
Judge Fernandez,
Yes, sir.
sorry for calling you attorney because we have
It's
been
okay, sir.
for so
Yes, it's
long.
okay, sir. No problem. No problem,
Now,
sir.
I have known you before as a clerk of court,
Yes, sir.
but I have uh, not seen you as a leader. So, what kind of a leader are you?
So I'm a leader, sir, who leads by example, and well, I'm a hands-on leader, sir. I do the work and let my subordinates or my staff follow them. So I have some standards, and they follow my standards. So I check the orders, like for example, orders of the stenographers. I check them individually, and there are cases, especially decisions, sir. I do it myself, and I just ask my legal researchers and the court congestion officers to do the research for me, but I do it. So no one sees my decisions and significant or controversial orders.
So, how would you react to certain situations when you are confronted by challenges and pressures?
So first, sir, I remain calm, and I know myself as a patient person, as a calm person, so I don't do things drastically. So I remain calm whenever there's pressure from outside.
Do you not show any passive disposition towards it?
No, sir, not really passive, as you may call it, but I remain calm and then think about my next action. So that's the kind of person I am. So I don't shout. I don't get angry easily. So I remain calm and then plan my next action, course of action.
So, how emotionally stable are you?
I'm emotionally stable, sir.
Uh-huh.
I am emotionally stable. I can
You,
vouch for that.
you do not tend to be suggested in any of the situations when confronted by pressures.
No, sir. I
Oh,
am stable
stable.
emotionally and psychologically.
Okay. Now, I'll just ask you one or two questions, no,
Yes, sir.
on Rule 41, appeal
Yes,
from
sir.
the Regional Trial Court.
Yes, sir.
Can you cite the judgment or orders that can be appealed from?
So
from
final
the
order.
Sige.
Okay. A final order, sir, a final order, a decision can be appealed to the Court of Appeals from the Regional Trial Court in the exercise of its original jurisdiction by ordinary appeal.
What about an interlocutory order?
Interlocutory orders, sir, are not appealable. So the okay, yes, sir.
Sige.
So it's not yet,
Continue.
it's not appealable. So the remedy there is to file a motion for reconsideration, or should there be any possibility of a grave abuse of discretion or lack of jurisdiction or acting in excess of jurisdiction, then a litigant may have this remedy of filing a petition for certiorari under Rule 65 of the Rules of Court.
So what is the remedy of a party from an interlocutory order?
That's to file a motion for reconsideration.
And if the motion for reconsideration is denied, what happens?
That's right. He can file a motion, petition for certiorari under Rule 65 of the Rules of Court.
Okay. Kindly review it further, Judge, no?
Yes, sir.
Now, may there be an instance in which the decision of the MTC may be appealed directly to the Court of Appeals?
No, sir. Only through the Regional Trial Court in exercise of the appellate jurisdiction of the Regional Trial Court.
What about if the MTC was exercising its delegated jurisdiction in cadastral and land registration cases?
Yes, in those cases, sir, then it can be appealed directly to the Court of Appeals because it is in the exercise of its original jurisdiction.
Okay, Judge Fernandez.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That was my last question. I intend to ask you more questions.
Yes, sir.
But then time is out, so good luck and thank you for the opportunity to interview you personally.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
for quite some time.
Yes, sir.
And
Thank you.
Okay, good luck and stay safe.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge De Monteverde.
Thank you, Attorney Tali.
The next interviewer is Honorable Justice Noel Jimenez Tiham.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, Judge.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
You are from Negros.
Occidental. Yes, sir.
Yes, and people from Negros are reputed to be courageous and brave.
Thank you.
What prompted you to inhibit in some of the cases assigned to you? Were you pressured? Were you intimidated? Were you coerced or influenced by litigants or lawyers?
No, sir. I inhibited because there was a motion for my inhibition, not because I was threatened. And at the time, with the surrounding circumstances, I deemed it proper and prudent to inhibit from those cases to protect the integrity of the court as an institution, because the parties no longer believe in my impartiality because of the motion for inhibition.
But judges are mandated, expected to decide cases without fear or favor. Should you be sensitive to the impressions of the litigants and the lawyers, that you should be influenced by them to inhibit from cases?
No, no, sir. I know that's the mandate that I have to to decide cases based on the merits, and I will not be intimidated by the lawyers or the litigants. However, in some cases, sir, especially when it is politically related, the most prudent thing to do at that time, and with the surrounding, taking into consideration the surrounding circumstances of the case, uh, I believe that the most proper thing to do was to inhibit in order to protect the court itself and the institution.
If appointed to the Court of Appeals, will you be maintaining the same kind of attitude insofar as inhibition is concerned? That you will
Uh,
be cautious, you will be careful, that if it has implications on yourself, on your reputation, you would immediately inhibit from a case?
well, it depends, sir, but not for myself. I'm thinking more of the institution, the court itself, and not for myself. So it takes a lot of reflections to inhibit, sir, when it's already in the Court of Appeals, because there are other justices also.
But if the
Uh,
integrity of the institution is being assailed by the litigants and by the lawyers publicly, isn't it that your duty is to defend the institution rather than be submissive and abdicate your duty to decide the case without fear or favor?
that's why, sir, yes, I believe that I have the duty to decide the case without fear and favor, and I will not abdicate. So there are only a few cases where I inhibited, and most of them are politically related. So only during those circumstances, sir, that I needed to inhibit. As a matter of fact, I have not inhibited in other cases, except that I was the investigating prosecutor or the inquest prosecutor, or one of the litigants is a family member, is an aunt of mine. So
But
other than that,
in cases
okay,
of
there.
voluntary inhibition, isn't it that if you easily inhibit because of pressure from outside, that will reflect on your independence?
Yes, sir. That's why uh, I am careful not to inhibit in order that my independence will be at stake, or it will be taken that I am afraid or scared of anything, or I am being influenced or afraid to be influenced by anyone.
Because what we need in the judiciary are not only competent, independent, morally upright, but also courageous and brave magistrates. That's what we need.
Yes, sir. I understand. And
In your 2019 SALN, you're a millionaire. The work is high, and there was a sudden increase in your SALN from 2015 to 2017. The members of the JBC are very meticulous in going over documentary requirements submitted by applicants. In
yes, sir.
2015, your net worth was somewhere 700,000 more or less. And then 2 years thereafter, in 2017, it dramatically rose to 8 million plus. Did you win in the lotto, Judge?
No, sir. I pulled for some loans, sir, because I was preparing to purchase a house finally, a house and lot finally. So I pulled for loans, and it can be seen in my payslip.
Since there are ex officio members of the JBC who are not
Yes,
actually physically present during this interview, it
yes,
might
sir.
be prudent for you to email an explanation on this seeming discrepancy, so
Yes,
that
sir.
it will be known by the other members of the JBC.
Yes, sir. I will do that.
Is it constitutional to impose a mandatory vaccination for all Filipinos once the vaccine is made available?
Uh, yes, sir. Because no one can compel a person to be vaccinated
You
once
said
the vaccine is already available.
it is constitutional or unconstitutional.
It's unconstitutional, sir.
So
Because
you
you
cannot
cannot, I
you cannot
cannot be,
mandate,
yes, sir.
compulsory vaccination.
Yes, sir. Because, well, we have to think of the health uh, of the other people who may not be who are not allowed to have this vaccine, or these vaccines may have an adverse effect on their health. There are
So
people who are also afraid of having of vaccines, sir. Like myself, I am afraid of vaccines.
so any Filipino, for that matter, has a constitutional right to refuse to be vaccinated, even for
Yes,
free, even for free.
yes, sir. Even for free, because the person knows the state of his or her own health.
Is
And
it, con-
yes,
is it
sir. Yes, sir.
constitutional, Judge, to compel all Filipinos to wear mask during this pandemic?
Yes, it is constitutional, sir, because wearing masks will protect the other people, will protect yourself first and foremost, and then the other people from the spreading of the virus. So it somehow helps in uh, in not spreading the virus,
So
especially in public places.
there is scientific data that a mask can protect against COVID-19, but there is no scientific data that vaccination can protect from COVID-19.
Yeah, there's, as of now, there's no scientific data on that as to the vaccination.
Why is it that you're implying that a Filipino has the constitutional right to refuse an order to be vaccinated, but a Filipino does not have the constitutional right to refuse wearing a mask? Why so? Is there a way of difference?
Okay, sir. As to the vaccine, then a person knows his or her own health. But as to the mask, wearing of mask, it's if you go to public places, so you need to follow the protocol in public places and wear masks, especially when you enter the mall or going to public offices. But as to the vaccination, sir, a person who does not want to be vaccinated can just stay home and to protect others from virus or himself from the virus. There are people who stay home and do not go out at all because of this pandemic.
So if you wear a mask, you will protect yourself from infection, and you
And the
protect
others.
the others from infection.
Yes, when you're when you're in the public places, sir, in
But
public
if you
places.
are vaccinated, you protect yourself from infection, and you protect the other person also. But so why not make it mandatory, the vaccination?
So as the wearing of mask, it is external, but the vaccination is internal, so it has an adverse effect on one's health.
All right. Now, what about, do you have a Facebook account, Judge?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Your
sir.
Facebook account.
But it's only used for official purposes, sir. I don't have time to
So
use Facebook.
when is social media used for official use only?
Facebook, sir, is I only have the Negros Occidental or TC Judges Association. One of them as the admin as a friend on Facebook. It's
Can,
for
can
information regarding the activities of the judges in Negros, RTC judges
if
in
you
Negros.
post
It's one
if you
account,
post
sir.
something on Facebook, and Facebook says it goes against their community standard, and then they remove it, is that not censorship?
Well, that's censorship, sir,
So they cannot do
from
that.
Facebook. Yes, sir.
Do you have recourse to the courts to complain against Facebook?
Yes, sir. If Facebook has violated my right to post on Facebook itself.
What do you understand, Judge, by a heckler's veto? Heckler's veto. Have you heard about it?
I'm sorry, sir. I have not heard about it.
You have not heard about it. So you try to research on that after the interview.
Yes, sir. I will.
Have you heard about the Soto Enrile Accord with respect to the University of the Philippines? Have you?
No, sir. No, sir.
All right. The accord entered into by an officer of the League of Filipino Students many years ago with the Secretary of National Defense Enrile, provided that no police, no military can enter within the premises of the University of the Philippines without its consent. Is that valid and constitutional?
Yes, sir. Because that's the University of the Philippines. It is within the jurisdiction of the University of the Philippines,
So
so it's allowed.
it's an it's a different country. It's an independent republic.
It's not an independent republic, but it's kind of a government office, so it's allowed
To prevent.
to prevent other people, much more the military, from entering its premises.
All right. If a building in the University of the Philippines catches fire, the fire department, which is under the DILG, are also barred from entering the premises.
So in that case, there's a different scenario. There's fire, so it's an emergency, and the fire department members will be allowed to enter the premises this time.
A group of family members of former students of the University of the Philippines who were allegedly recruited by the CPP NPA and who have died, who have been raped and mutilated, went inside the premises of the University of the Philippines to protest. But they were barred by the Student Council of the University of the Philippines. Was that valid and constitutional?
Yes, sir. Because they are protesters, and the University of the Philippines has the right to prevent them from entering its premises. So if let's say they rally, then they can just stay outside of the premises of the university.
If a group of terrorists, hypothetical question, if a
Yes,
group
sir.
of terrorists seek refuge within the premises, the campus of the University of the Philippines, can the military or the police go inside to arrest those terrorists?
Yes, sir. If they are terrorists, then the military and the police can now enter the premises of the University of the Philippines, because that would be tantamount to an emergency or a security or a defense measure of the government.
So that's a different situation.
Yes, sir. it's a case-to-case basis.
All right. My last question is this. What is the difference between a government-owned and controlled corporation with an original charter from a government-owned and controlled corporation without an original charter, insofar as audit jurisdiction of the Commission on Audit is concerned?
Okay, sir. A government-owned or controlled corporation with an original charter needs an audit from the Commission on Audit because it is a government office and the charter says so. But those government-owned or controlled corporations which do not have an original, which have no charter, are not under the auditing principles or auditing rules of the Commission on Audit.
But isn't it that government entities, agencies are subject to COA audit? So you're saying these are exempted from COA audit?
Both of them, sir, needs to be audited by the COA. Of course, they are private. They are public entities. I mean,
So both of them are subject to COA jurisdiction.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Even the one with the original charter or one without a charter.
So what's the difference? That was my question. What is the difference?
There's no difference at all, sir.
There's no difference.
So it needs to be audited by the COA, being a constitutional commission and being a public office.
Read the case of Feliciano versus Commission on Audit, decided by former Senior Associate Justice Tony Carpio.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, Judge, thank you for your time and good luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Justice Tiham. Our next interviewer is Honorable Judge Toribio E. Ilaw Jr.
Yes, thank you, Attorney Tali. Attorney Tali.
Morning, sir.
Judge, yes,
Yes,
Judge.
good morning, Judge.
Sir,
Judge-
good morning.
Judge Fernandez.
Morning,
How-
sir.
Your first name?
Cyclamen. Cyclamen.
Was there an occasion that you asked your parents where did they get your name, Cyclamen?
And so it's from the dictionary. It's from the dictionary. It means flower, sir, of the primrose family. My father took it from the dictionary.
And you've been a judge 5 years, RTC Branch 63, La Carlota City, Negros Occidental.
Yes,
You're
sir.
a new applicant for the vacancy in the vacancy in the Court of Appeals.
Yes, sir.
Why only now?
Sir, because it's just now that I have reached 5 years. So I had my anniversary on December 29, 2019 for my 5-year stint in the RTC. So so I feel that it is now time for me to move higher, move
And
to a higher position.
you are already 47 years old,
Yes, sir.
yet you are single,
Yes, sir. I'm annulled actually.
annulled, married.
Yes, sir. Married before, annulled now, sir.
But you did not state it in your PDS. You merely stated no spouse.
No, sir. I checked as to the civil status. I checked annulled, sir. And then as to the spouse, not applicable, NA.
How is single blessedness?
Well, it's okay, sir. I'm fine. I have my mother to take care of, and my nephews and nieces and grandchildren by my brothers and sisters.
When was your marriage? When was your marriage annulled?
In 2014, sir. The decision was June 2014.
All right. You listed as references Vice Governor Ferrer and Mayor Halandoon.
Yes, sir.
How do they know your professional competence?
Well, as the vice governor knows that I perform my job to the best of my ability within the city. He's also a resident of this city. Sometimes he also lives in another city, but within the jurisdiction of the 4th District. He was former congressman, but he has a house. He has a house here in the city of La Carlota. And as to the mayor, sir, I am a member of the City Anti-Drug Abuse Council and the City Peace and Order Council and the Committee on Justice. So he knows me personally also, the mayor. He knows what's going on with the courts because when there are problems, of course, we ask the city government for help and assistance.
Should you be nominated, appointed, and later on, those politicians need your help for a case in the Court of Appeals. How are you going to assert your independence?
Sir, I have always asserted my independence, and these people, even when I was in the municipal trial court in Citizen Cabancalan City, these politicians or those who are incumbent officers or incumbent public officials have not asked for any favor. So I have always maintained my independence as a judge. And even when I get appointed to the Court of Appeals, I will still maintain my independence as a judge, as a magistrate.
You are being considered by the Council for nomination to the office of the Associate Justice of the Court of Appeal.
Yes, sir.
What among your qualifications and experiences should the Council take into consideration in evaluating your application?
Yes, sir. Of course, my competence, my industry, my probity, my track record, which shows that in a span of 5 years, I was able to dispose of around 1,400 plus cases, and that I can bring to the Court of Appeals my values, my character, my independence, and everything that needs that it make that everything that needs to be as a judge or as a magistrate.
All right, could you enumerate your meaningful contributions to the judiciary that make you worthy of the promotion applied for?
Sir, I have disposed of the cases assigned to me, and I've cut it into as of now almost half, because I started with 1,500 cases. So I can say that I was able to perform my job well by disposing of these cases. And with the many cases that are still being filed in court, and the judiciary, the Supreme Court can look into my competence and my industry and my dedication and commitment to the administration and the dispensation of justice.
All right, just for the record, what is your caseload now?
Caseload now, sir, is 651 cases. 651 cases, sir.
So replying as an Associate Justice of the Court of Appeals,
Yes, sir.
can you discuss the reorganization of divisions in the Court of Appeals?
Okay, so the divisions are, there are 23 divisions in the Court of Appeals, and one division is composed of 3 justices of the Court of Appeals, and there's one presiding justice. So there are a total of 69 justices in the Court of Appeals. There are 23 divisions, and each division is composed of 3 justices.
All right, aside from reducing your caseload from 1,500 to the present caseload of 600, what do you consider your greatest accomplishment as a trial judge, aside from the clogging, as you mentioned?
Okay, sir, I was able to lead by example over my staff, the personnel of the court, and I have served as executive judge of the court, and with jurisdiction over 4 first-level courts. And my greatest accomplishment is my leading by example of what a judge, a presiding judge, and an executive judge should be. And I have maintained the proper decorum in my courtroom, and slowly we are into an e-court. We issue orders. Although we're not yet we're not yet a pilot court or a pilot e-court, but we are striving to make it an e-court that the parties and their counsel are given the order during the hearing, so that they will no longer wait for the orders or subpoena in mails. So I've started with the e-court, yes, sir. Although we're not yet pilot tested, but we started with issuing orders like an e-court in some pilot courts.
All right, on the other side, and what do you consider your greatest failure in life?
My greatest failure in life, sir, is my failed marriage.
And what did you learn from it?
That I have to accept that I cannot have it all. That no matter how much I wanted to, my dream is to have a family of my own with a husband and at least 2 children. But I failed in that. So it was such a devastating, humbling experience for me. And I learned to accept things as they come and to move forward and move on with my life.
Arata, you have a master's in biblical studies at the Asian Theological Seminary, Bacolod City.
Yes, sir.
Arata, do you recall the case of Estrada versus Escritor? What is the benevolent neutrality approach on the Constitution clauses?
As to the church?
Yes, benevolent neutrality approach on the Constitution's clauses by the court.
At the court, that there's a separation of power, sir, between the church and the state.
Can you expound on the ruling of the court in that case?
That the church has its own. The church is separate from the state, and the state, the church enjoys privileges from taxation, as long as the the activity is for a church or religious purpose.
What is the sub judice rule and how is it applied?
A sub judice rule, sir, is that there is a pending action in court about a certain case, and we are not allowed to speak about it or to discuss it yet because it's still pending before the court.
And what are the exceptions?
Exceptions to the sub judice rule?
Yes, please.
So, sir, we are not allowed to discuss this because it is still pending before the court for resolution or decision.
Yes, that's the rule, the general rule.
Yes, sir.
What are or what is the exception?
Well, if there's a court order, sir, requiring that there's a need to comment on or to discuss that action which is still pending before the court. Only a court order can do so.
What is your concept of judicial efficiency?
Judicial efficiency, sir, for me, is that I will be efficient. The courts must be efficient and effective and productive generally in the administration and dispensation of justice, in the declogging of court dockets, and in efficiency also as to the administrative and financial matters of the court.
And what is the doctrine of judicial restraint? And what is the rationale, therefore? Judicial restraint.
Judicial restraint, sir, the courts are not allowed to interfere or intervene in matters exclusively for the executive department or the legislative departments.
About the doctrine of judicial temperament.
Judicial temperament is that the court must uphold its independence and impartiality in all issues concerning the government in general.
All right, what is something that no one would ever guess about you?
Never guess, sir, about me?
What is something that no one would ever guess about you?
That I clean the bathroom myself. I clean my bathroom myself and the bathroom of the house. So I love doing this chore ever since. And I am quite meticulous when it comes to cleaning my bathroom, my toilet, and the bathroom and toilet of the house.
And what was the funniest thing that happened to you recently?
Funniest thing, sir,
Funniest.
funniest. I spoke before a congregation, and I felt like sneezing, so I stopped in the middle and cut short my message because for fear that they're afraid of the virus if I do sneeze. And that I was also afraid that I would sneeze before so many people listening to me.
So you were not able to sneeze?
I I cut it, sir. I tried that too. It was so fortunate that I had a hanky that time. So I cut short my message and excuse myself from the rostrum.
All right, my last question. If you were leaving for a business trip abroad, what are the top 5 things you are going to do before you leave?
I'm going to go na trip abroad. I will see to it that my court is that I have left everything under control in my court. I have no orders to sign or backlog to release. And then I will make sure that my family is well provided for. They have groceries and food for the duration of my trip. I'll make sure that I have my passport and other documents with me and all the things needed for the trip abroad.
That's only 3. Number 4.
Number 3. And number 4, I make sure that I have enough cash to bring with me, or that the ATM that can be used abroad is somehow funded and with cash on it. And that I'll make sure that I'm in good health when I go abroad.
All right, that was my last and final question, Judge. Thank you for
Thank you,
your
sir.
time, effort, and good luck.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge Ilaw. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Welcome.
The next interviewer is Honorable Justice Jose Catral Mendoza.
Morning, Judge.
Morning, sir.
Yes. You are a former clerk of court, right? I heard you
Yes.
earlier. Oh.
Yes, sir.
Justice Leonen recently came out with an opinion that clerks of court and court researchers, legal researchers, should be coterminous. What is your opinion on that? From your experience as a clerk of court and as a judge?
Well, I would
And
beg
also,
to
and also from the views of your colleagues, do not consider your present staff. Think of the judiciary or the court as an institution.
Okay. So, sir, well, I would beg to disagree
With Justice Leonen.
because, well, with all due respect to Justice Leonen, because the clerk of court is an important position in the court, especially in the trial courts, especially in the administrative functions of the court. So if it's a contractual or if it's a coterminous appointment, there's no security of tenure there, and it will not be credited as a government service in the GSIS. So I still would go for the permanent appointment of clerks of court.
How about legal researchers?
Likewise, sir, legal researchers also. They also help the court, especially in the trial courts. Legal researchers do the research and drop memorandum for the court, draft facts of the case, and research jurisprudence and laws of the case, and aid the court in the resolution and decision of pending cases. So I would go that they would be permanently appointed, and their appointments will not be made coterminous with
So
the
both
judge.
both positions.
Both positions, sir, clerks of court and legal researchers.
Opinions have been voiced that some judges are complaining that they are stuck with their legal researchers because they could not pass the bar, and sometimes they are lazy. Oh, what can you say of those opinions?
Well, sir, of course, I respect the opinions and the circumstances of some judges, and I understand the predicament, of course. But there's also a way, sir, they can request the Office of the Court Administrator for an appointment or deployment of a court decongestion officer to the court. And the most that the judge can do for in that circumstance is to utilize or to give the legal researcher, the clerk of court, with a specific duties or specific to assign specific cases to him or her for drafting of the facts of the case or memorandum to aid the court in deciding the same or in resolving the same.
From your record, it appears that you obtained a master in biblical studies degree from the Asian Theological Seminary.
Yes,
You
sir.
finished this course, no? You already obtained the degree, the master's degree.
Yes, sir.
What did you learn from your studies, and which you have brought to the court?
So I learned from there so many biblical principles of honesty, righteousness, of integrity, of industry, of values, or spiritual values that I can bring to the court, and which have been helpful in my stint as a government official, as a public servant. And also, I have learned about not just about the Bible, but the spiritual matters, spiritual aspect, but also other views like the world views. We have so many views. And then I have a little knowledge about the Hebrew language, how they write it and how they pronounce it, their alphabet. And the most important learning from the course is to maintain, to apply what I have learned there and the spiritual aspects of life to my life as a public servant. But during that time, I was still a clerk of court, a branch clerk of court in Himamaylan City, and which qualities and characteristics and learnings I have applied in my, likewise values I have applied in my life, and have eventually get me into this, allowed me to get this, to rise from the ranks and to reach this post I am enjoying right now. Of which I am incumbent to as presiding judge of La Carlota City, RTC.
Do you not want to continue your enjoyment?
Sir, I'm
In your-
enjoying. I'm
in your
enjoying the work, sir.
present
I'm enjoying the position, sir. I love going to work, and that's it, sir. I want to add to that. That's the one thing that I have learned from that course is that I learned to love my job more, because previously when I was starting with my career as an entry-level position is a computer operator 2. It's a clerical position, salary grade 7. I felt at that time that I need to study so that I can somehow reach a supervisorial level. And during that time, it felt like it was a struggle going to work. Now, when you do clerical jobs, but it is a training. It was my training ground, and all those values I have learned from the clerical jobs I brought here, and I am a hands-on leader or judge in my court, so that I can supervise the staff, and I can understand their predicaments and their problems with the job. And I love going to work now. No, I even render overtime sometimes, Saturdays, and I work overtime sometimes up to until 6 p.m. I love my job. I love going to work. So that's one value I learned from the Master in Biblical Studies degree: to learn to love your job and to do it like not just as a service to man, but to God Himself.
Okay. You were with the BIR before.
Yes, sir.
Why did you not apply in the CTA?
CTA. Sir, CTA. Yes, sir. I work as computer operator one in the BIR, and I was privileged to apply for a clerk of court position, which is salary grade 24, being a bar passer at the Regional Trial Court of Himamaylan, branch 55. So I felt that I need to go to the court to apply for the court rather than the BIR, because my position there at the time was only computer operator.
Oh,
it's only a computer operator, sir.
Oh,
So, sir,
answer to my question, why you only applied for
the court
position of Associate Justice Court of Appeals and not the CTA?
Yes, not the CTA, sir. I was at the BIR, but I did not apply for the CTA because my work at the BIR is only for clerical work, computer operator. So my work in the RTC will equip me for the work in the Court of Appeals rather than in the Court of Tax Appeals.
You were the computer operator at the BIR, so you
Yes,
must
sir.
be very good in computers.
Not much, sir, but I am computer literate, and I can handle some of these important applications, software applications.
From your record, it appears that you have attended so many seminars. About 3 pages, I think 3 pages.
Yes. Yes, sir.
You attended seminars.
Yes, sir.
You also studied cybercrime, right?
Yes.
What is evidence? Cyber evidence.
Cyber evidence, sir, is the one in the computer. Cyber data, cyber data, sir, cybercrime.
Okay.
Computer or gadget, cell phones, as long as it's electronically transmitted.
This case has been decided. Is a facsimile an electronic evidence?
Yes, sir. Facsimile is an electronic evidence because it was also transmitted electronically.
This was not lectured on, no, by your lecturer.
Was lectured.
It was. Yes, it is not, according to the Supreme Court.
So facsimile. I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. I stand corrected for that, sir.
Okay.
Like, I believe I got confused, sir, because now in the new rules, facsimile is accepted.
Yes, it is
I said, sir,
admissible.
it is admissible.
No,
Yes, admissible.
yes.
I mean, I stand corrected. It's
Admissibility.
admissible.
I was just asking if it is an electronic evidence, not if
Yes,
it is
electronic.
admissible or not.
Yes, sir.
Okay. In your biblical studies degree, uh, but biblical studies, you studied natural law?
No, sir.
No, you did not
More
come
on spirit,
across
more on
natural law?
spirit,
Oh,
not natural law, sir. More on the Bible and Hebrew language and the world views.
so anyway, what is your understanding of natural law? What is natural law?
So natural law, sir, is a law that a person ought to know because it's basic.
When you say it's basic, what do you mean?
That a person acts um, naturally, basically, and a person has no intent to commit evil in the society.
The first to man's understanding of what is right and what is wrong. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's the basic
Is
understanding of.
natural. Is natural laws recognized under our laws?
Yeah, to some, yes, sir. We recognize natural law
Where?
in our courts.
Where?
In the civil code, sir, there's the natural rights that must the person must always act uh, thinking of the for the good of others and to act in good faith and not in bad faith concerning others.
You're referring to Article 19.
Yes, sir.
Okay. It was, if it is Article 19, it is a positive law,
Yes,
not
sir.
a natural law. It's a
Yes, sir.
positive law, so it's not a natural law. Do you agree?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Uh, Hello? Were you
Yes, sir.
able
Yes, sir.
to? Oh, it's not a
Yes, sir. I
natural
understand.
law.
Yes, sir. I
Yes.
understand.
Yes. Oh, I think again. Where is it? Where is it recognized? Where is not our? Where is natural law recognized in our laws?
So, so on matters of environment, sir, natural law
So
is
that's physical. I'm not referring to physical.
a physical. Okay. So I will stick to my answer that some positive law also refers to and
Positive laws are written laws, right?
yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes, sir. Positive laws
oh,
are
no.
written laws.
And that's why I'm asking you about natural law. Where is it recognized in our laws?
Sir, I'd like to answer that the natural law is not recognized in our laws because the written laws are the as provided in the civil code under Article 19 is positive law. So it
Yes.
likewise encompasses the natural law that a person is not a person. We always think of the person that he will not do evil and he will always act in good faith.
Civil laws, you can enforce its performance. How
Yes,
about
sir.
natural laws?
So you cannot enforce the performance of the natural laws
You
because
can.
you cannot enforce. It's like for example, I have it's not in a contract or it's not written in a contract, but I know that I owe somebody something that it's natural for me or I have this tendency to pay that person because I owe it to him. So although we have no contract, then I need to pay him or so, if somebody pays me
Give an
something that
example.
I did not, yes, sir, that's it.
Oh, give an
That if somebody,
example.
if I owe somebody, but he or she does not demand payment, but I know that I owe this something and I pay it, so it's part of natural law because it's part of good faith. That although there's no contract, there's no demand, that I will still pay because
But it is
it's part of
recognized.
good faith.
It is recognized in our laws.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is recognized.
Yeah. What is the name? What is the term? If you remember.
Good faith, sir.
No, no. What is solution indemnity?
That
Solution indemnity.
that I owe something. I owe money from a person, and then I will pay it. Although there's no contract or there's no demand, then I ought to pay it
Okay.
in the exercise of good faith, sir, of a person, and part of the natural law.
You also attended the webinar on the amendments.
Yes, sir.
What is the most significant amendment in the civil procedure?
The civil procedure, sir, that the most significant is that upon filing of the complaint, all the evidence, the judicial affidavits, the names of witnesses, and that the testimonies of those witnesses, a summary of the testimonies of those witnesses, as well as documentary and object evidence must all be in and attached to the complaint prior to filing the same. So that's, for me, that's the most significant feature of the revised rules on civil procedure. So everything is already there upon filing.
Already
the
there.
complaint.
Suppose the answer alleges new matter and there is no actionable document. How do you controvert it?
So it's stated in the answer, sir. No new
Stated-
matters. It's stated in the
No,
answer.
no, no, no.
The defense can state it.
The answer alleges new matter.
New
How
matter.
can the
But
plaintiff controvert it? There is no actionable document.
no actionable document. So the plaintiff, if there's no actionable document, then the plaintiff need not file a reply because there's no actionable document in the answer.
Cannot file a reply. But he
Yes,
wants
sir.
to controvert it. Can he controvert it?
Okay, he can file a supplemental complaint.
Supplemental complaint.
But he does not need to file a reply because there's no actionable document.
Yes. That would be when does what is the difference between joinder of causes of action and joinder of issues?
The joinder of causes of action, sir, is that all actions are needed to be joined must be stated in the complaint or the initiatory pleading. And
Continue.
okay, so and the other question was as to the joinder of suits.
No, no.
Sir?
Joinder of issues. What do you mean
Joinder of
by
issues.
before you can make that distinction, you must know the difference between, I mean to say, the basic nature of one from the other.
So the joinder of issues,
What
sir,
is, okay, you concentrate first. So what is a joinder of issues?
the joinder of issues that you join all the issues that need to be joined in the complaint in the initiatory pleading.
That is your understanding of joinder of issues.
Joinder of issues, sir.
Yes.
It happens during the joinder of issues happens after
When
the
do you
pre-trial
consider
conference.
when do you consider issues joined? When do you consider issues joined?
issues are already joined upon filing of the answer or the
Okay.
last
Responsive pleading.
yes. And
Ah.
then the joinder of issues happens during the pretrial conference because by the filing of the answer or the last uh, pleading the defense for the defendants, then the issues will already be joined, and then the court can now proceed with the pretrial conference proper.
Is it not that the issues are joined upon filing of the responsive pleading, or
Yeah, yeah.
only in the pretrial?
The pretrial, sir.
Pretrial.
After we know it that it's already joined because the pretrial after
You are
the responsive pleading
in the
after the
pretrial.
yes sir
In the
yes sir
pretrial, you are just defining the issues.
yes sir defining it.
No,
But the issues have already been joined
Yes.
upon filing of the last responsive pleading.
Yes. So
Yes sir.
I
So
think that
we
will
can
be
now
all,
proceed with the
Judge.
pretrial. Yes sir. Thank you sir. Thanks. I learned so much from you. Thank you sir.
Okay. So, Attorney Tally.
Thank you. Thank you,
Your
Justice
ex-
Mendoza. Thank you, Judge Fernandez.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
That concludes the public panel interviews for this morning, Your Honors.